Your name and the work name.
My name is Martin Terho, and I'm exhibiting my exam work called Onions Are a Good Tool for Filmmaking.
How did the work start and what's it about?
Well, it began with my desire to see my paintings move around. Was it 2 or 3 years ago? I'm just painting in my studio, just looking at my paintings, and I just had the desire to see them start moving and sounds coming out of them.
How would you describe your work?
Well, surreal. I'm always trying to create a dreamy, surreal, absurd, nonsensical feeling about stuff. I don't like it to make too much sense. Strange. Maybe that's the key word there, strangeness.
Personal reflections about the work?
Well, I'm quite happy how it turned out, considering that it's my first short film ever. So it didn't come out perfectly as I had envisioned it in my head, but nothing ever becomes 100%.
What's the starting point for your project?
Starting point. Well, like I said earlier, I had for a long time the desire to make a film. I've had small ideas of scenes just pop into my head out of nowhere, just write down some short dialogue. And eventually a bunch of scenes started coming to me. I could look at them, feel them, and they started talking to each other and linking together. And then we had Onion Cutter.
What does your work process look like?
Well, mostly my work process. Well, I listen to a lot of music when I make my art, so that definitely has some effect on it, but I don't know, I simply start with something and feel around the work, what feels correct and what pieces fits where.
What's the purpose of your work?
Purpose? Well, mostly probably to confuse and create questions, make people question their daily lives, their normal reality and what is normal, like the absurdities of everyday life, the abstractions and surreal things that can happen to you.
Future plans?
Well, I definitely want to continue creating movies. After making this, I felt so fantastic to weave a story, create these characters, write dialogue, build up these scenes. It's fantastic, so I definitely want to continue this, making movies, but also, of course, continue painting. But I think that movie making will become, for now, the central point in my art life.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Jenni Österlund and I'm exhibiting my piece called Biophilia.
So, how did the work start and what's it about?
Well, the work is about, or it's based on the term biophilia, which means humans' biological love to life and living things. And this started about 2 years ago when I found the word biophilia and I got an immediate attraction to this word, and I wanted to know more about it, and I wanted to work with it. So what I'm exhibiting here now is an installation of three main parts. There is the video, which represents biophilia and our curiosity on nature and our curiosity on life. Then I'm exhibiting a xylophone that I built from pieces of wood, which represents the power balance between human and nature. And I'm also exhibiting a sound piece, which represents the reconnection that I want with nature. This work is, it started from a performance, but due to Corona, I couldn't perform it. So instead I'm exhibiting this installation with fragments of the performance.
How would you describe your work?
How would I describe my work? I would describe it as an experience for more than one of your senses, and I want it to be an experience, like a hug of some kind, and something that you feel with your whole body, and something that affects you and makes you reflect on your own biophilic behavior.
Personal reflections about the work?
Well, one of the things that I lift in my work is how I want to reconnect with the relationship that I had with nature as a child and the curiosity that I felt as a child. So throughout the process, I've been trying to seek this curiosity and come back to the relationship that I had with nature when I was younger.
What's the start point for your projects?
Well, actually, like the part with sound and involving music in my work started last spring when me and my partner were out in the forest and we were looking for sounds, and we started using sticks to play on trees and rocks, and we made this kind of performance for the nature. And I would say this was the starting point for this sound piece that I'm using in my work.
What does your work process look like?
I want to be very playful in my process and not put too much pressure on myself. I want things to come natural, and I see it more as like playing than really putting pressure on creating something perfect from the beginning. I want to experiment and ride my impulses and find the way.
What's the purpose of your work?
The purpose of my work is to reconnect with nature and to discover my own biophilic behavior.
Future plans?
This summer, in August, I will be performing biophilia on Humlefestivalen in the nature, which means I will not have the video in the background because there will already be nature around us.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.